Since President Benigno Aquino III assumed presidency in 2010, there have been 35 victims of extrajudicial killings among indigenous peoples. These victims were involved in collective actions defending their ancestral lands against mining operations, agribusiness plantations, and other development projects. Capion Massacre, Latalayong, Barangay Danlag, Tampakan, South Cotabato. On October 18, 2012, at about 6 in the morning, members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines 27th Infantry Battalion, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Noel Alexis Bravo, arrived and strafed the house of the Capion family. It caused the death of a 2-month pregnant Juvie Capion, 27 years old, farmer, and her children, John and George Capion, aged 13 and 8. Her 5-year-old daughter, Juviki Capion, was wounded. After the massacre, the soldiers brought the dead bodies outside the house and left them exposed for 8 hours to compel Juvie's husband, Dagil, to surrender. Dagil Capion is a tribal leader who led his community in waging tribal war against the mining operations of Extrata SMI that land-grabbed their ancestral territories. Summary execution of Rudy and Rudy Recdejos, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur. On the morning of February 27, Rudy and Rudy Recdejos were working on their farms near their residence. Rudy's wife, Mercy, left for the village market to sell their crops. When she returned home around 4 p.m., she found her husband's and son's lifeless bodies bathed in blood. The bodies bore gunshot and stab wounds. There were also signs of possible torture, as there were bruises on the bodies, and the victims' hands and nails were smashed. Summary execution of Totong Mabinsi, Datu-Laak, Compostela Valley. On July 22, Totong's body was found in Kibuntayan River in the village of Datu Davao, Laak Town in Compostela Valley Province. Lina, his wife, said Totong just went out to hunt for wild boars on that day. During Totong's wake, 6 soldiers came. They talked to his brother, and one of them admitted that they killed Totong by mistake. Summary execution of Genesis Ambason, Binikalan, San Luis, Agusan del Sur. On September 13, at around 8 p.m., Genesis Ambason was with 4 other companions on their way to Binikalan village to mine and buy gold. Genesis had with him 18,000 pesos. They had not rested long when they heard footsteps hurrying towards their direction. Ambason shined his flashlight on the direction of the footfall, and suddenly, they were fired at. The next day, at around 6 a.m., Datu Amay, the tribal leader in Sitio Tambo, went to the site and found Ambason's body some 130 meters away from the detachment of the 26th Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army. His teeth were all gone, and his head was soft, appeared smaller, and was unrecognizable. Before his death, Genesis was the Secretary General of Tagdumahan that resists the entry of large-scale mining in their ancestral lands. Tagdumahan had been tagged as a communist front by the military. Extrajudicial killing of Jimmy Liguyon, Barangay Dao, San Fernando, Bukidnon. On March 5, 2012, at about 6:30 in the evening, Jimmy M. Liguyon, Barangay Captain of Barangay Dao, San Fernando, Bukidnon, was shot dead outside his residence by Aldi Salusad, also known as Butchoy. Alde Butchoy Salusad is the leader of a military-backed paramilitary group NIPAR, or the New Indigenous People's Army for Reform, that operates in San Fernando, Bukidnon.
Ang akong ibutyan ang nagtabo kang Kapitan Jimmy. Sa Pizza 5 sa Marso.
A witness narrated that they were conversing in the terrace of Jimmy's house when Alde Salusad arrived, accompanied by 15 unidentified armed men in military uniform. Alde suddenly barged into the house of the victim without any courtesy. Facing each other, Alde shot Datu Jimmy at close range using his baby Armalite rifle. He shot Datu Jimmy in the chest. He died instantly. After the death of Datu Jimmy, harassments against the members of the community continued. Cases of torture and indiscriminate firing were committed by San Matrida and Nipar against members of Liguyon's tribe to force them to support the land title. Extrajudicial killing of Gilbert Paborada, Cagayan de Oro City, Misamis Oriental. On October 3, 2012, at around 3 p.m., Gilbert Paborada had just arrived in front of his house in Puntod, Cagayan de Oro City, and was about to alight from a motorcycle when two men aboard a motorcycle shot at him. Paborada was a resident of Bagokbok village and the chair of Pangalasag, a community-based Lumad organization resisting the expansion of the palm oil plantation owned by A. Brown Company, a U.S. corporation. In another incident, another Lumad leader quoted A. Brown Company representative Rafi Magbanwa as having threatened Gilbert to stop with his campaign or he might regret what happens to his life. The unabated killings and the culture of impunity spawned by the murderous Macapagal Arroyo regime are quickly evolving 3 years into the Aquino administration. So far, Aquino added 34 IEP leaders, organizers, and activists to the 137 extrajudicial killings nationwide under his term.